And welcome back to Who Would Win. You'll notice I'm late on that. I just dropped my pencil, but oh well. Notice I'm late again with scheduling and things along those lines. It just sometimes not going to be able to get it out. So if I can't get the Who Would Win out on Wednesday, I will do both on Friday, as I am doing now. This one comes to us from Mastermind, who asked the question, who would win a fight? Inuyasha, from the Inuyasha series. Particularly, he's talking about the final act Inuyasha, but that pretty much is just Inuyasha in general. Inuyasha versus Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, I believe I've had Yusuke on this program, on this series, I think twice. I put him up. Once was against Naruto. The other was against Teenage Goku. So I know, and I love Yu Yu Hakusho. I watched Inuyasha. I didn't finish Inuyasha by any stretch of the means, but I've watched some of it. I don't dig on Inuyasha. I don't know what it is about Inuyasha, but I don't love Inuyasha. I don't hate it, but that one never caught me like, say, Yu Yu Hakusho, like Dragon Ball, like Rurouni Kenshin, when that was on Toonami. That one never got to me like those ones did. But I do know enough about Inuyasha to talk about it. Plus, I have his personality, abilities, and things listed right up in front of me right now, so that's helpful. But Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke Urameshi, we'll go over him first, because I own nearly all of Yu Yu Hakusho. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. So Yusuke was a human. He actually wasn't spiritually aware until he died, but then it was like they realized it was a mix-up. So he had a chance to bring himself back. On a condition he basically be a spirit detective, the detective of the spiritual world for the guy who runs it, Koemba. And by the end of the series, we learn he's actually descended from a ancient demon called Ryzen, who was awesome. I loved Ryzen. The moment we had him. And he is actually the descendant of the Mazuku, and he had an additive, a dormant gene that's activated, so he was part demon. And he essentially became, well, actually, when you really break it down, he didn't even become one of the strongest characters in the series. There were characters that still far outclassed him by the end of the series. We are supposedly getting a bit more Yu Yu Hakusho, too, with OVA, so maybe we'll get a bit more improved Yusuke after that. But that said, he was a force to be reckoned with. Now, in terms of just his physical capabilities, he's always been a good hand-to-hand fighter. That's always been his bread and butter. He loves a good brawl. But he's a street fighter. He doesn't have martial arts skills to him. He's a street fighter. But he has had some degree of physical training in terms of his conditioning, his actual martial skills on some level. It hasn't been trained like a form of fighting, but he has trained with like Genkai's master, with Ryzen's crew, Hokushin and them. So he does have some level of training with his martial skills. He's a brawler. He's a street fighter. He can go on the flow though, act just on a whim. At one point, he's very good at acting spontaneously, like when he made his made his shirt wet and snapped it like a whip to catch Sensui's arm in that fight, and then just started pounding into him. Physically, from just a pure physicality point of view, he's pretty strong. He can like punches like through a wall. It's not like he's Goku strength or anything like that, but he's got enough physical strength to him. They can punch through some pretty solid objects. Like he can punch through a rock boulder. I know that. Punch through a rock. He can further enhance it with his spiritual energy. Durability wise, he can tank some pretty hefty blows, but he can still be hurt by just a straight punch of anyone who has significant amount of energy to him. He's not immune to pain by any stretch of the means. In fact, it's pain that pretty much does him in a lot. He like passes out from pain. He can take damage, absolutely, but he still has all the enhancement of a human demon hybrid, basically. His spiritual energy is considered S class, which is the highest ranking of energy in the spiritual world. I don't know if it goes from F. But I know it's at minimum, at least at minimum, it's E. It could be F. I can't remember. But E, D, C, B, A, and then S is the highest. So his is S, and it actually is a mix of both spiritual, demon, and they show there was some sacred. Which sacred is a completely different type of energy to begin with. Excuse me. I just had breakfast, and I got a doctor's appointment later to figure out what's. I think it's just acid reflux, but still it's annoying. So it's causing me to have a lot of burping. So yeah, his energy was enough that it was able to almost overpower anyway, Yomi, who was one of the 3 demon kings. And Genkai, and this is something I need to point this out right now, and I'm going to say this. This is something I think gets blown completely out of proportion. A lot of people think Yusuke is a planet buster. No, he's not. He's not a planet buster. Now, technically speaking, he might be a world buster. Now, there is a difference between a planet and a world. The planet is the sphere, is the thing that we live on. The world technically is a different dimension. A world is technically a different dimension. You have the spirit world, you have the demon world, you have the human world. Those are 3 different worlds. Technically speaking, they may all exist on their own version of Earth, but we don't know. But because they're planes of existence, they're not the same thing. Actually speaking, you might say that being a world buster is even more dangerous than being a planet buster because there's theoretically no limit to the size of a world. However, Genkai at one point says, if you got angry, wanted to destroy this world, you could do that. No, and I've seen the dub, I've seen the sub. She says world. She does not say planet. There is a difference. Now, what does that mean? Well, here's the thing. When Yusuke basically got his demon energy, he became an S-rank demon. Now, the human world, at best, allows B-rank demons. A-rank demons, if they can get through, are rare as hell, but they can occasionally get through. But S-class can't get through because there was a barrier involved. Because their power is so great that the makeup of the world can't contain them. The confines of the world are not suitable for holding those demons, so therefore their power can actually destroy the world. However, when 2 S-class demons are having a fight in the demon world, yeah, you're causing destruction, but the world's not in danger. So it's very tricky how that's worded, but Yusuke is not a planet buster. Unless, hypothetically speaking, he would be in the human world on Earth. Which, to be fair, where this fight would take place, that would be the case. So just wanted to get that out of the way now. That does not mean, though, that he's not extremely powerful. He has several techniques, including the spirit gun, which is his trademark, just a bullet firing, from his pointer finger. The shotgun, which is essentially, a scatter shot of lesser powered but multi-blasts. Trying to keep myself from burping too much. Again, the damn acid reflux. Plus, I'm talking a lot. So if I talk too fast, I can suck in air and that can cause burping. But yeah, he has a shotgun, he has the spirit gun, and he has a spirit wave, which can be used as a healing technique. But I bring that up. Yusuke actually is really limited on the actual amount of techniques he has. I mean, he can charge. We've seen him charge his fist with spiritual energy and attack with those for greater punches, and we know he can do that. But ultimately, yeah, he's kind of a one-trick pony in some regard. 2-trick pony, technically. And he does have a demon form, which is like all of his demon energy he gets tattoos and all stuff that are from Ryzen. His muscles become more taut. His demon energy flares. So he's kind of near his, almost at his strongest point at that point. That was a weird sentence, but anyway. So he can go a little further, but it's a bit hit and miss. Hit and miss. He has limitations to the form, especially if he starts really overusing his energy. The form will wear out, and then he's just down to his bare bones at that point. But Yusuke is not invincible. In fact, Yusuke has. Here's the thing: if I really break down all his fights, not just like confrontations, quick kill or whatever. If I break down all his fights, Yusuke I think has won more than he's lost, but it's either been through some minor trickery and someone's been there to help him and give him enough time to recharge, or he's lost at least a couple times to like the legit. Well, let's break down like some of the main bad guys real quick. He never actually fought Kurama. Rando, when he fought against him, he was like the boss of that arc. Yusuke almost lost against him. He was able to come out on top briefly and bring the win out, barely. He won against Chu. He won against Jin. He won against most of his opponents in the Dark Tournament arc. However, in his fight against Daguro, he near flat out lost. He needed some secondary motivation before he could come out and win. He nearly lost that fight. Then he got killed by Sensui legitimately until his before his demon energy actually showed back up. And he lost to Yomi. He's lost constantly to Ryzen, basically. He never actually beat Ryzen. So when it comes to like some of the big hitters, he's only barely ever scraped out a win, if got the win. And most of his other wins are against some of the, some of them are still strong, but lesser characters in the series. So despite being immensely powerful, one of the strongest main characters, if not the strongest main character, he actually isn't as powerful as, the series might let you to believe. And then you get this, and he can be killed, knocked out, just like anyone else. Inuyasha is I believe it's a Haino, or a Haino? What's the pronunciation of that damn phrase? One second. He is what's the pronunciation? Inu Haino, which is a dog demon. To be clear, he's half demon, half human. Both these guys, by the way, are pretty hot-headed. Inuyasha particularly likes to kind of just goes in, half-cocked, just kind of, pushing through things, and eventually, find your words, damn it. He kind of just goes in, haphazardly and just tends to hope for the best, and eventually does get the outcome he usually wants. He's generally a nice guy, but he's cynical as well. Yusuke is also like that, but Yusuke is definitely a bit more of a tactician. He values more, Inuyasha values more, as it's reading here. Oh, you son of a bitch. What did you just do? Okay. Oh, you bastard. Yeah, he values fighting, power over fighting tactics and fighting spirit more than wisdom. So he's not a very he's not dumb, but he's not an intelligent fighter, confrontationalist. In terms of his, he's got a conflicting spirit with his demon side and his human side. That was pretty much taken care of by the end of it. Physically speaking, he's an expert hand-to-hand combat in terms of he knows how to fight. He's been raised in fighting for a long time, but doesn't have any formal trainings. He's pretty much like Yusuke in that regards. He is kind of an expert swordsman, but against anyone with better skill, it wouldn't matter. He does have healing abilities, but not really in that sense. He has a healing ability. He has a healing factor, and he's a healer, is what I'm trying to say. He's faster than a normal human with his reflexes. He can swipe arrows firing at him out of the air with his claws. He's been able to combine the reflexes of enhanced senses to catch objects thrown at him in midair without turning around. He could sense their direction and react to them in time to catch them. His enhanced strength. Okay, this is going to be something that's probably going to be one of those important things. His demon blood gives him physical strength exceeding that of the strongest human. He was able to uproot trees and break through walls of fortresses and gates, even be able to punch through solid steel. I don't know if we've seen Yusuke do that, but given the fact Yusuke can probably amplify his strength with his, it's not ki, it's demon energy, as they call it. I can't remember exactly. Yokai? Do they call it yokai? I can't remember in the dub, or even in the sub. Only Daiko's like Shinnok initially were able to overpower Inuyasha's pure strength. However, he soon grew into his strength, allowing him to go toe-to-toe with very strong enemies, even without his sword, including Shishomaru, although Shishomaru only had one hand, whereas Inuyasha had two. Yeah, Shishomaru, by the way, who I have out in the series a couple times, is just overall better than Inuyasha. Even when Inuyasha's got the upper hand, Shishomaru's just better. He also has immense endurance. His stamina exceed human standards. It can go pretty much for days if he had to. Leave vast distances at great speeds, often compared to how relatively weak humans are. Always slowed down by needing to rest so much every day. He was able to endure a great deal of physical pain and once demonstrated in an early battle with Shishomaru while continuing to fight even after being impaled with the stomach, which is pretty impressive. Yusuke has never demonstrated... See, that's something right there I can say. Yusuke has never demonstrated an ability or pain resistance or basically being punctured to like the gut or something. He's never demonstrated that happening. I take that back because he got shot by Sensui through the gut, and then he was able. But that being said, he was able to heal himself after all and get back up. But after he got shot, he was pretty much floored and tortured for a while. So I would imagine that then Inuyasha has better endurance than Yusuke does. His physical physique is extremely durable. He can withstand attacks from stronger yokai spiritual weapons, blades of shrapnel. Capable of considering surviving considerable blunt force trauma, direct blow from a solid wood log, and broke on contact. 1 second, you guys said, it's nice and snowy out there. Yeah, we got snow out, but I know. His physiology makeup is also granted him resistance to certain acids. He can be shown being thrown through solid rock and shattering it. Skin was thick enough for him to survive being tangled by Euro wires. Thin hair, which is capable of cutting through solid tree trunks. He was able to have his spinal cord severed without being paralyzed, which is impressive. He also has depended on it in battle against difficult enemies, aware that he can take painful yet not directly lethal hits. So he has used that. High-speed regeneration. Basically, serious wounds could heal up in a few hours to several days. Minor cuts and scrapes probably only last a few, maybe a day at best. Yeah, like when, for example, when he yanked out one of Inuyasha's fangs to repair Tessaiga, mentioned that Inuyasha will grow a replacement canine one day. So minor wounds can heal in a day. Even he doesn't have a Wolverine healing factor. Enhanced senses. He's a dog. Makes sense. Demonic power. He's capable of going toe-to-toe with some of the strongest demons in his dimension, however, or his world. But at the same time, I'm going to say right now, I think Yusuke has higher demonic power simply because Yusuke has been said to possibly be able to destroy worlds, whereas Inuyasha, as far as I can tell, has not. Sanko Teshu, which is Iron Claws. Essentially, he lengthens his claws, and they're used for melee combat. His Hinji Kesso, or Flying Blade Blood Claws. Ooh. Or Invis, Claws of Blood. Basically dub. Essentially, if he's bleeding, he dresses his claws in his own blood and basically fires energy blood blades out of his claws. Time travel, which we will not use because there needs to be a certain, scenario here. If he goes into his demon form, he tends to lose a bit of his mind. He only feels basically blood rage, lust, hedonism, bloodlust, and a couple of newfound predatory instinct, lack of intelligence, and ability. With every subsequent overload, the form's intelligence diminishes, but his powers all do kind of increase on some level. Basically, the sword, though, is there to kind of offset that. So, apparently he does have a purified form, which, in this form, he retained his striped eyes, blah, blah, blah. His yokai, his energy, increased exponentially, allowing him to enhance the Tetsaiga's barrier. After the shard was removed, he reverted back to his normal height. He entered this state a second time inside Naraku, having been corrupted in his yoga. So basically, this is something that only happens under certain circumstances. His main sword his main blade is known as Tetsaiga, which is a blade. Normally looks like a katana when sealed, but when unsealed, it just becomes this giant 5-foot fang that causes immense damage. It basically, in its sealed form, it has an anti-demon barrier. Some demons, like its creator, Shippo, could grab hold of it. Basically, it will burn full-blooded demons, but half demons or certain demons or demons of comparable strength can easily overpower it. It does grant humans protection. Its true fang form, power assimilation. This is something I found out to be very interesting. Possesses the unique ability to absorb and steal other demons' power through physical contact with the blade. This was shown when Shishuki remarked that Tessaiga was the one that stole his technique, and when Shishomaru broke Tessaiga's blade on Tessaiga, it regained the technique. So you'd have to break the blade to return the technique. His wind scar is his trademark signature attack. Can kill 100 demons with a single strike. Achieves the technique by finding the rift between the aura of his yokai and his own. Essentially, it's kind of like the Getsuga Tensho. It's like a demonic wind attack. Repetitive use drains the energy of the user until he's too weak to fire. And then the Bakuryua, I mispronounced that, but the backlash wave, his ultimate technique, when it caught a demon's opponent's demon-based blast with his wind scar and struck the specific weak point. Basically, it's a reflective kind of so basically, he fires a wind scar, the opponent's firing attack, they mix together and uses the technique to create a new technique that he fires to the opponent. This Tessengai also has multiple forms, including the red form, which basically shatters barriers. The diamond form, which shatters barriers. The dragon scale form, which has yokai absorption or demon energy absorption. You got a point where the sword instead purified the yokai, absorbing it, moving the original limits without regurgitating energy. So he can just take on as much energy as he likes. And Yokosu cutting, because of its overall nature, is a sword that cuts. It came into conflict with the yokai absorbing gaining sword. Nature, I'm not certain the point of this technique. He was able to cut through. He's just able to cut through more things. Flaming Tetsengai fires at flame attacks. Does not when the flame does not catch itself due to near impenetrable shell. The sword resonates internal damage. Okay, so basically, if it has a resonating ability in the red flame form, where if the initial attack doesn't burn you, your innards might be burned. Black Tessengai. Let's see here. Meldo. Oh, that's when it stole something. Opened a black portal. Wait a minute, is that when he? Yeah, in order for Zane to broke Tessengai, in order to resort to technique stolen from him. Container. Well, using this technique, the blade of vegetation gained the appearance of Meldo's portal itself. And I hate those updates because these updates mean jack shit. Basically, you can open a black portal 7 meters in diameter to send anything within the radius directly to the netherworld. The portal could be destroyed. The target's energy reserves were sufficiently powerful enough. Blades, basically separate portions of their body in the other world. Okay, it's kind of like a dimensional cutting technique, dimensional travel. And it says Tessengai Sheath, which can protect people. Man, I need to hurry this up because I gotta go soon. And I'll just do the other Hoodwin later. Well, I'll do it when I get home. So these guys break down. Yusuke probably gets transported into the past for some reason, and he's like, "What's going on here?" And Inuyasha sees him. He's like, he notices that his clothes are more modern, so he must be like someone like Kagome. But he can sense demon energy coming off him a lot. He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Yusuke." It's like, "Who are you?" It's like, "I'm Inuyasha." Blah blah blah. And both these guys being hot-headed. Inuyasha, I think, a little bit more so than Yusuke. Inuyasha, I'm pretty certain, would be the first one to attack. So he comes in, and then he goes, "Wind Scarf!" And then Yusuke just gets out of the way. It's like, whoa, what is it? All right, fine. And then Yusuke comes in, dodges the blade again, delivers a solid strike into Inuyasha. Inuyasha goes flying. Then Inuyasha just grabs Yusuke's fist when he throws another punch, kicks him back. So there'll be a brawl. Yusuke's going to be able to avoid the blade for most of the time. And then, he's going, Wind Scarf, Spirit Gun! Boom, blast, those collide. Now, in terms of pure strength, I would say the Spirit Gun is stronger with Yusuke, particularly as he is at the last part of the series, as a part demon. But because Inuyasha also has the Backlash Wave, he can also redirect the attack. So he redirects the attack at Yusuke. Yusuke just gets out of the way. It's like, whoa, and then fires another blast at him. Inuyasha can't fight that in time, so he just kind of holds the Tessengai out, tries to cut it back, cut it in half. He cuts most of it out, but he does get a big explosion. Yusuke then he hears Yusuke say, "Shotgun!" And then, boom, energy. He just holds the blade flat, blocks most of it, but it's hitting like his knees and stuff like that. He's nearly fallen to the ground, but he gets back up and just like, okay, fine. You want to play this game? Fine. And then he tries to go use some of his some of the forms of it. So he tries maybe, and I'm just gonna use some of these off the top. Red Tessengai, like forms a bear, or like goes through holy bears, tries to cut through them. Nothing, really doesn't do anything. So he realizes that's not going to work. So he then tries the dragon scale form, which, he's using to absorb more energy and it's overflowing into him and stuff like that. But Yusuke immediately just charges back up and just hits him straight in the face with an energy punch. And basically gets rid of his blade, which causes him to start going into his demon form, I believe. Yeah, I believe he could be separated from blade. Iris is trying to remember. It's when he's separated from the sword, correct? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's when he's separated from from his sword that he can go into his demon form. So let's say that happens. He starts going to his demon form, and he starts going wild on Yusuke. Yusuke's I'd say he's actually a better fighter overall because he does have some legitimate training on him. Nothing serious, but he does have some training. So he knows how to dodge, throws him, blasts him point blank again. But Inuyasha's now burnt and in pain, but getting back up, just yeah. It's like, oh man. It's like, fine, let's Okay, fine then. And then he goes into his demon form, and then these two go again. This time, Inuyasha has enough sense to grab his sword, just out of reflex, goes back to his human form, and then basically goes into Flaming Tessega, fire. Yusuke just charges that, punches him straight in the face. It's going to be a lot of brawling going on here. And then he brings down, Yusuke grabs the blade, and immediately feels that his power starting. He's like, gotcha! Starts stealing the power from Yusuke. Yusuke then just snaps the blade, and that just goes to nothing. Yusuke, I think, in demon form would be enough to just snap the blade in half with his energy and everything. And I was like, ah! And then at that point, he kind of just impales Inuyasha, who I don't think would die. I don't think he's dead, but he's kind of done. So that would be my take on this fight. It's a short one, despite all the explanation I was doing. The reason I say that is, experience-wise, Inuyasha does have probably longer, so he's probably older than Yusuke. But in terms of actual overall skill that we've seen these characters use, in terms of overall power, I gotta go with Yusuke. Yusuke is the overall, I think, better fighter. And I think he's just overall more powerful. He's also just has more actual power. He can augment himself with more power. So even though the sword could start stealing his power, Yusuke, I'm pretty sure, would just be strong enough to snap the blade if he wanted to. If you compare, and that's the thing, it's about comparing the universes. When you compare the universes, even Inuyasha's father, who was said to be one of the strongest demon lords, I don't think his power could destroy the world. I mean, it might, but I don't think that was ever explicitly stated. He couldn't get mad and just destroy the world. The way Genkai says that statement, you could destroy this world you want, no one could stop you. She said that like he could do that easily. I get even the strongest demons in the world can't just destroy the planet like that. I think it would take some serious effort for them to do that if they could do that. Whereas Yusuke can just, like that, allegedly implied by Genkai. And he's not even the strongest character in the series. So, ultimately, because he just has more power, because he's got more experience, and because he's got enough techniques, enough style, enough hand-to-hand fight, and enough durability. I think durability, pain tolerance, and overall technique-wise, Inuyasha has an advantage over him. He's got far more techniques than Yusuke does. He's got far better durability in terms of just standard forms and higher pain resistance. But you factor power to power, Yusuke comes out on top. So I think Yusuke's going to win this. I don't think I'm going to really give a percentage just because I'm kind of I need to get out of here. So I'm going to say that. I know it's probably a little rushed. Probably going to get a lot of people on my back for that. Sorry about that. I'll try to make the next one a bit more concise. I apologize. But thank you for watching anyway. I do still hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for Win, Star Wars, Superhero Magic, what if, anything I do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. Thanks for watching.